I still remember the day as if it were a dream unfolding in slow motion, a day when the familiar rhythm of my life was abruptly disrupted by the appearance of a hidden booking confirmation. It arrived in my inbox on an otherwise uneventful afternoon, buried among a flurry of routine messages, yet its subject line glowed with an intensity that immediately caught my eye. I almost dismissed it as a misdirected email at first, a marketing ploy or an automated message from an obscure travel site. But something about it felt personal, as though it had been meant solely for me. The confirmation revealed details of a secret weekend retreat, promising an escape into a world of elegant dinners, whispered conversations, and clandestine trysts that would awaken dormant desires and secret longings. The invitation was mysterious yet alluring, urging me to abandon the humdrum of my everyday existence and step into a realm where every moment promised the thrill of the unknown. For weeks prior to that fateful day, I had been caught in the inertia of routine. My days blurred together in a series of predictable events, waking up to the same gray sky, commuting through familiar streets, and navigating the endless cycle of work, dinner, and sleep. Yet beneath that veneer of normalcy, I harbored a secret yearning for something more, a hidden part of my soul that craved experiences beyond the ordinary. I had always been fascinated by stories of chance encounters and unexpected journeys, but I never imagined that one would come knocking at my door. And yet, as I stared at the confirmation, I felt that pull, that magnetic urge to explore a side of myself that had long been locked away by self-doubt and fear. The confirmation itself was written in elegant, flowing script that evoked images of handwritten letters from a bygone era. It was addressed simply to the seeker, as though it knew exactly who I was without ever having met me. The details were tantalizing: a secluded estate nestled on the outskirts of a vibrant city, a weekend retreat designed to rejuvenate the body and soul, and a series of exclusive dinners where guests would dine under starlit skies, their conversations laced with intrigue and passion. There were hints of discreet trysts and intimate rendezvous, promises of encounters that transcended the boundaries of convention. The more I read, the more I felt the weight of opportunity settling upon my shoulders, a chance to break free from the constraints of a life lived too cautiously, a chance to embrace a world of seduction and sophistication that I had only dared to fantasize about in the solitude of my thoughts. I spent that evening pacing my small apartment, my mind whirling with possibilities. The confirmation had ignited a spark inside me, a fire that demanded action. I recalled moments from my past when I had chosen comfort over risk, when I had allowed fear to dictate my choices. Now, faced with the promise of a secret weekend retreat, I felt compelled to step into the unknown. I began to imagine the possibilities: elegant dinners where crystal glasses clinked softly under the gentle glow of candlelight, whispered conversations that hinted at forbidden desires, and clandestine meetings that promised both passion and liberation. I envisioned myself shedding the layers of self-imposed restraint, embracing a persona that was both daring and enigmatic. After a sleepless night of contemplation, I decided to take the plunge. I booked the retreat, my hands trembling as I clicked the confirmation button, sealing my commitment to this unexpected adventure. There was a heady mixture of exhilaration and trepidation that coursed through me as I prepared for what lay ahead. In the days leading up to the retreat, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of anticipation. I meticulously planned my wardrobe, choosing a collection of outfits that balanced elegance with a hint of mystery, a tailored dress that flowed with every movement, a pair of stilettos that gave me both confidence and a touch of allure, and delicate jewelry that whispered of sophistication. Each piece of clothing became a symbol of my intention to transform, to step into a role that was both unfamiliar and deeply seductive. The night before my departure, I sat by the window of my apartment, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. I felt a profound sense of possibility and liberation, as though the universe had conspired to offer me this rare chance to reinvent myself. The air was thick with unspoken promises, and every shadow seemed to hide a secret waiting to be unveiled. I realized that this retreat was more than just a getaway; it was an invitation to rediscover parts of myself that had been neglected by the relentless march of everyday life. I felt the stirrings of a long-forgotten passion, a desire to explore the depths of my own identity and to embrace experiences that transcended the mundane. When the day finally arrived, I set out on my journey with a mix of nerves and excitement. The retreat was located at a sprawling estate that lay on the edge of the city, its silhouette bathed in the soft hues of dawn as I approached. The estate was a study in understated elegance, a grand manor with ivy-clad walls, hidden gardens, and secret passageways that hinted at stories of romance and intrigue. I remember my heart pounding in my chest as I crossed the threshold, feeling as though I had stepped into another world entirely. The air was perfumed with the delicate scent of blooming flowers and old wood, a reminder of nature's resilience and the passage of time. Inside, the estate was a labyrinth of opulent corridors and tastefully decorated rooms, each one exuding a sense of history and mystery. There was an ineffable charm about the place, as though every corner held a secret waiting to be discovered. I was greeted by a discreet attendant whose eyes sparkled with a knowing glint. He led me through a series of winding halls until we reached a spacious lounge that had been prepared for the guests arriving for the retreat. Soft music played in the background, a blend of classical melodies and modern rhythms that created a hypnotic atmosphere, inviting us to relax and savor the moment. I took a deep breath, letting the ambience wash over me, and felt my nerves begin to settle as I realized that this place, with all its hidden corners and elegant details, was a sanctuary from the relentless pace of my usual life. The first evening was dedicated to a welcome dinner, and as I entered the dining hall, I was struck by the beauty of the scene before me. Long, polished tables were adorned with fine china, flickering candles, and lush floral arrangements that lent an air of romance to the space. The guests, a diverse group of individuals whose eyes shimmered with anticipation and quiet curiosity, mingled with one another as they waited for the evening to unfold. I found a seat near a large window that overlooked a moonlit garden, the silver light reflecting off the dew-covered grass like a promise of secrets shared in the dark. The dinner began with a series of delicate appetizers, each dish a work of art that seemed to defy the boundaries of flavor and presentation. I remember savoring a small bite of truffle-infused risotto that melted on my tongue, leaving behind a subtle hint of earthiness and the faintest whisper of something more tantalizing. Between courses, the conversations flowed as effortlessly as the wine, and I found myself drawn into discussions about art, literature, and the elusive nature of desire. Every smile and every shared glance felt like a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken truths we were all too familiar with, the recognition that beneath the polished surfaces of our lives lay a labyrinth of hidden emotions and unfulfilled dreams. As the evening progressed, the atmosphere shifted subtly. There was a growing sense of intimacy, as if the walls of the dining hall were gradually dissolving, leaving us vulnerable yet connected in a way that was both exhilarating and disarming. I caught snippets of conversations that hinted at past romances, secret trysts, and moments of profound beauty that had altered the course of lives. It was as if each guest carried with them a story, a collection of memories and experiences that were as fragile and ephemeral as they were precious. I listened intently, my heart swelling with a bittersweet mixture of empathy and longing. I had spent so much of my life shielding myself from the unpredictable currents of passion, and here, in the soft glow of candlelight and hushed laughter, I felt those currents beginning to stir within me. After dinner, a gentle invitation was extended for those who wished to explore the estate further. I found myself irresistibly drawn to a secluded terrace that overlooked a sprawling garden, its path lit by the soft glow of lanterns and the distant hum of nocturnal life. As I stepped out into the cool night air, I was greeted by a symphony of sounds, the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze, the distant chirping of crickets, and the soft murmur of a nearby fountain. I wandered along the winding paths, each step revealing a new vista of quiet beauty and hidden alcoves that seemed to hold the promise of whispered confessions. I paused near a stone bench, sitting down to soak in the serenity of the moment. It was there, under a canopy of stars, that I began to truly understand the transformative power of the retreat, a place where time seemed to slow down, where the complexities of life were distilled into moments of pure, unadulterated presence. In that moment of solitude, I recalled the day I had received the hidden booking confirmation, the day that had marked the beginning of this extraordinary journey. I thought about the risk I had taken, the leap of faith that had carried me far beyond the confines of my familiar world. I wondered about the person I had been before, the one who had been content with a life defined by routine and practicality, and how that person was gradually giving way to someone else, a version of me that was more daring, more open to the unpredictable magic of life. The garden, with its wild, untamed beauty, seemed to mirror this inner transformation. Every blossom, every rustling leaf, was a testament to the beauty that could arise from the interplay of chaos and order, of chance and deliberate choice. As the night deepened, I found myself drawn back to the warmth of the estate's common areas, where quiet laughter and soft music mingled with the memories of the evening. Over the following days, the retreat continued to unfold like a carefully orchestrated symphony of experiences. Mornings were filled with leisurely walks through manicured gardens and intimate breakfasts served on sun-dappled patios. Afternoons brought creative workshops where we explored everything from culinary arts to the art of self-expression. In one memorable session, I found myself painting on a canvas beneath the guidance of a gentle instructor, each brushstroke a revelation of hidden emotions that I had long buried beneath layers of caution. I discovered that the act of creation was itself a form of liberation, a way to transmute the intangible into something tangible and beautiful. Throughout the retreat, I encountered individuals whose lives were as complex and compelling as the retreat itself. There was a quiet poet whose verses spoke of longing and regret, his words laced with both melancholy and hope. A striking woman with an air of mystery recounted tales of adventures in far-off lands, her eyes glistening with memories of passion and heartbreak. In whispered confidences shared over shared cups of herbal tea, I learned of secret trysts that had defied societal expectations, of midnight rendezvous that had left indelible marks on the hearts of those involved. Each story was a window into a world that was as unpredictable as it was captivating, a world where vulnerability was not a weakness but a strength, and where the courage to love and be loved was celebrated as the highest form of art. There were moments when I found myself overwhelmed by the intensity of it all, a sensory overload of sights, sounds, and emotions that challenged me to confront the depths of my own heart. At times, I would retreat to the quiet solitude of my own room in the estate, sitting by the window as I scribbled my thoughts into a leather-bound journal. I poured out my fears, my hopes, and the quiet exhilaration that had taken root within me. In those solitary moments, I realized that the retreat was not merely an escape from the ordinary, but a journey into the hidden recesses of my soul, a journey that demanded honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to embrace every facet of my being. As the final day of the retreat approached, I felt a mixture of elation and sorrow, a bittersweet recognition that all beautiful things must come to an end. In the soft glow of the morning light, as I packed my belongings and prepared to leave the sanctuary that had become my haven for these few transformative days, I paused at the door, taking one last look at the garden where I had rediscovered the joy of simple, unguarded existence. The estate had given me more than just a weekend of elegant dinners and secret trysts, it had gifted me a new perspective on life, a realization that the extraordinary could be found in the most unexpected of places if only one had the courage to seek it. Driving away from the estate, I felt a profound sense of gratitude and renewal, as though a chapter of my life had been rewritten by the events of the past few days. The hidden booking confirmation, which had arrived like a serendipitous message from fate, had opened a door to experiences that I had never imagined possible. I knew that the memories of the elegant dinners, the whispered conversations, and the stolen moments of passion would remain with me forever, serving as a reminder that life, in all its complexity and unpredictability, was meant to be lived fully and passionately. Even as I merged back into the familiar rhythms of daily life, the lessons of the retreat resonated in every breath I took. I found myself more attuned to the beauty that lay hidden in everyday moments, a quiet smile from a stranger, the gentle caress of a breeze on a warm day, the silent promise of a new beginning. The retreat had awakened a part of me that had long been dormant, a part that now sought to infuse each day with a sense of purpose and wonder. I began to explore new avenues of creativity, to forge deeper connections with those around me, and to embrace life with an openness that was both exhilarating and transformative. As I sit here now, reflecting on that extraordinary weekend, I realize that the hidden booking confirmation was not just a solitary incident but the beginning of an ongoing journey, a journey into the depths of desire, self-discovery, and the timeless allure of the unknown. The retreat was a portal, a fleeting yet indelible reminder that sometimes the most profound experiences arise when we dare to step outside our comfort zones and embrace the mystery of existence. And though I cannot predict where this newfound path will lead me next, I carry with me the memories of elegant dinners under starlit skies, of whispered confessions shared in quiet corners, and of a weekend that transformed me in ways I am only beginning to understand. In that profound transformation, I found the courage to continue seeking, to remain open to the unexpected messages life sends our way, and to cherish every moment of beauty and passion that unfolds on the journey. The hidden booking confirmation was the spark that lit the flame, and now, with every heartbeat, I am reminded that the extraordinary is never truly out of reach, waiting patiently for those who dare to dream. I return to my everyday world with an altered perspective, a heady mix of euphoria and introspection that refused to fade even as the retreat's echoes reverberated in my thoughts. In the weeks that followed, the memory of that secret weekend lingered like an intoxicating perfume. Every detail, the gentle clink of crystal glasses, the murmur of hushed conversations, the subtle, electric brush of skin in shadowed corridors, remained etched in my mind. I had become more aware of my own heartbeat, of the way my pulse quickened at the prospect of chance encounters, and of the quiet magic that lurked behind every ordinary moment. It was as if I had been granted a key to a hidden realm, one that existed just beneath the surface of everyday life, waiting to be unlocked by a moment of daring spontaneity. Days blurred into nights as I tried to reconcile the transformative allure of the retreat with the familiar cadence of my routine. My work, once a series of predictable tasks, now felt imbued with an undercurrent of possibility. I found myself watching colleagues with a newfound curiosity, wondering if they too harbored secret dreams of rebellion against monotony. At times, I would catch a glimpse of longing in a passing stranger's eyes, a silent invitation to step beyond the boundaries of the expected. Yet, even as I sought out these signs in others, I was also haunted by the question of what came next for me. The retreat had stirred something deep inside me, a desire not just to escape for a weekend, but to embrace a life of continual discovery and raw, unfiltered emotion. One chilly autumn evening, as rain tapped softly against my window, I received an unexpected email. The subject line, rendered in the same elegant script as the previous confirmation, read simply, "Continuation." My heart skipped a beat as I clicked it open, half expecting it to be another marketing trick. Instead, the email detailed plans for another weekend retreat, a new destination, even more secluded than the last, nestled in a historic villa surrounded by sprawling vineyards and ancient oak groves. The promise was irresistible, another chance to lose myself in a world of elegant dinners, whispered confessions, and clandestine trysts that blurred the line between fantasy and reality. I hesitated only for a moment before replying with an eager acceptance. The message instructed me to arrive on a crisp Friday evening, to dress in attire that balanced sophistication with an unmistakable hint of seduction, and to be ready to let go of all pretenses. The anticipation that built within me during those long, restless days was nearly overwhelming. I began to prepare meticulously, selecting outfits that not only flattered my figure but also spoke to the inner transformation I was experiencing. I visited a small boutique tucked away in a narrow lane, where the proprietor, an older woman with an enigmatic smile, offered sage advice on choosing pieces that would allow my true self to shine. Each garment became a talisman, a symbol of my willingness to embrace the unknown. The night of departure was a study in contrasts. I remember stepping out into the cool evening air, the city around me aglow with the soft radiance of streetlights and distant neon signs, feeling both the weight of familiar responsibilities and the buoyant thrill of impending liberation. The villa, a stately relic of a bygone era, revealed itself as I drove along winding country roads flanked by towering trees whose branches whispered ancient secrets. Upon arrival, I was greeted by the soft strains of a grand piano playing in the distance and the subtle scent of lavender and old wood that permeated the entrance hall. Every detail of the villa exuded an air of mystery and understated elegance. Inside, the atmosphere was intoxicatingly different from the sterile opulence of modern hotels. The villa's corridors, with their richly paneled walls and delicate, hand-painted frescoes, seemed to carry the weight of centuries of whispered lore and passion. Soft candlelight flickered in every room, casting dancing shadows that hinted at hidden narratives waiting to be discovered. I was led by a silent guide, an individual whose eyes conveyed warmth and unspoken understanding, through a labyrinth of intimate spaces until we reached the heart of the villa, a grand dining room set for an exquisite feast. The dinner that evening was unlike any I had experienced before. The table was laid with fine china and silverware that gleamed softly under the glow of antique chandeliers. The guests, an eclectic assembly of individuals drawn from different walks of life, shared the room with a palpable sense of anticipation. Their eyes, alight with both curiosity and quiet yearning, met mine in fleeting glances that spoke of shared secrets and the unspoken promise of unforgettable moments. The courses came one after the other, a delicate amuse-bouche that danced on the palate, a perfectly seared piece of meat that melted into a cascade of flavors, and desserts that were as much a visual delight as they were a culinary masterpiece. Each dish was presented with a narrative that wove together local legends, personal memoirs, and hints of forbidden passion. Between courses, the conversation flowed with a hypnotic ease. I found myself engaged in animated exchanges with a striking woman who had once been a celebrated dancer and now moved through life with the grace of someone who had learned to embrace every fleeting moment. A man with kind eyes shared fragments of a past filled with love and loss, his voice tinged with the melancholy of remembered joys and sorrows. Their stories, rich with detail and vulnerability, resonated deeply with my own experiences, and I felt as if we were all participants in a delicate dance of shared humanity. The air was heavy with possibility, each whispered word a promise of secret trysts and passionate encounters that defied the boundaries of conventional romance. After dinner, the villa transformed into a playground for the senses. I wandered through a series of interconnected rooms and hidden alcoves, each designed to evoke a different facet of desire and intimacy. In one secluded courtyard, under a canopy of star-studded skies, soft music and murmured laughter filled the night as guests gathered around a fire pit. There, by the flickering flames, I found myself drawn into a conversation with a poet whose verses captured the fleeting nature of beauty and the eternal longing for connection. His words, spoken softly against the backdrop of a crackling fire, stirred something deep within me, a sense of both awe and a bittersweet longing for the ephemeral nature of every encounter. Later that night, as I wandered through the villa's secret gardens, I came upon a small, secluded pavilion draped in ivy and illuminated by the gentle glow of moonlight filtering through ancient trees. In this intimate setting, I encountered a couple whose quiet tenderness spoke volumes. They were wrapped in each other's arms, their conversation a gentle murmur that blended with the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the night. Their closeness, unburdened by the pretense of a public performance, offered a glimpse into a realm where vulnerability was celebrated and love was expressed without restraint. In that moment, I realized that the retreat was not just about grand gestures or elaborate feasts, it was about the myriad small moments of connection that wove together to form the tapestry of a life fully lived. As dawn began to creep over the horizon, soft light seeping into every shadowed corner of the villa, I found myself alone in one of the sunlit corridors. The events of the past few days swirled in my mind, a kaleidoscope of elegant dinners, heartfelt conversations, and fleeting encounters that left me both exhilarated and contemplative. I lingered by a large window overlooking the dew-dappled gardens, allowing the first rays of sunlight to warm my face, and pondered the lessons that these secret retreats had bestowed upon me. I had learned to see beauty in spontaneity, to embrace the complexity of human emotions, and to recognize that even in the quietest moments there lay the potential for transformation. Leaving the villa was a bittersweet farewell, one punctuated by promises to return and by heartfelt goodbyes exchanged with newfound friends whose lives had briefly intertwined with mine in a symphony of shared dreams. On the drive back to my everyday existence, the landscape passing by in a blur of autumnal hues, I felt a profound sense of renewal. I realized that these retreats were not merely escapes from the ordinary, but rather catalysts for awakening, a means of peeling away the layers of pretense that had accumulated over years of routine, and of reconnecting with the raw, unfiltered essence of who I truly was. In the weeks that followed, the vivid memories of the retreat continued to influence my daily life. I found myself more attuned to the subtleties of beauty, a gentle smile from a passerby, the soft interplay of light and shadow in familiar surroundings, the understated elegance of a handwritten note. I began to view each day as an opportunity to rediscover the extraordinary hidden within the mundane, to seek out moments of passion and connection in the most unexpected places. The secret retreats had taught me that every experience, no matter how fleeting, carried the potential to transform and enrich my life if only I had the courage to embrace it. Yet, as with all things that awaken the spirit, there remained an undercurrent of mystery. I continued to receive sporadic messages, each one hinting at another hidden retreat, another invitation to step into a world where elegant dinners were accompanied by whispered confessions and where trysts ignited a spark of rebellion against the ordinary. Each message was a reminder that life was an ever-unfolding narrative, a series of chapters waiting to be written with the ink of bold decisions and heartfelt experiences. And with every new invitation, I felt a renewed sense of purpose, a deep-seated determination to live my life as a continuous journey of discovery, passion, and intimate connection. One particularly crisp evening, several months after the villa retreat, I found myself once again standing on the precipice of the unknown. The latest message was the most enigmatic of all, a single line that simply read, "Your next escape awaits." There was no further explanation, no mention of a date or location. Instead, I was instructed to trust in the unfolding of events and to be ready to seize the opportunity when it presented itself. That night, as I lay awake listening to the quiet hum of the city beyond my window, I felt a familiar stirring in my heart, a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration that signaled the beginning of another transformative journey. I awoke the next morning with a quiet resolve, determined to remain open to whatever this new chapter might hold. The memories of elegant dinners and secret trysts, of whispered conversations in shadowed corridors and heartfelt farewells under starlight, were not merely echoes of a past retreat but stepping stones toward a future rich with possibility. As I prepared for the day, I reflected on the truth that these experiences had revealed, that the most profound changes often begin with a single, unexpected invitation, a hidden message that dares us to leave behind the familiar and venture into the realm of possibility. And so, with each passing day, I embraced the uncertainty of what lay ahead. I navigated my routine with a newfound lightness, cherishing the small moments of beauty and spontaneity that punctuated the mundane. I carried the lessons of those secret weekends within me, a quiet reminder that every elegant dinner, every whispered tryst, was a testament to the infinite potential of the human spirit. In the soft glow of early morning or the hushed reverence of a quiet night, I found solace in knowing that life was not confined to the boundaries of predictability, but was an ever-evolving tapestry of passion, mystery, and profound connection. Now, as I sit here reflecting on the journey that has brought me to this moment, a journey marked by hidden confirmations, secret retreats, and the courage to embrace both beauty and uncertainty, I realize that my life has become a canvas on which I paint my own narrative. The echoes of those transformative weekends continue to inspire me, urging me to seek out new adventures, to trust in the unexpected, and to allow each experience to shape me in ways both subtle and profound. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the world around me is hushed and the only sound is the steady rhythm of my own heartbeat, I close my eyes and picture the faces of those I met along the way, the laughter shared over candlelit tables, and the whispered promises that floated on the breeze of a secret garden. I am reminded that every encounter, no matter how fleeting, carries within it the seeds of transformation. And with that thought, I welcome the uncertainty of tomorrow, eager to answer the next call from the hidden corridors of possibility, and ready to continue my journey into the exquisite unknown.